Welcome back, everybody. Tuesday morning edition of Hot Mic rolls on. For the second time in 3 weeks, the Dragons won a heart-stopper of a football game. 2 weeks ago was the walk-off win at Duluth. On Saturday, they got a game-winning field goal and a game-clinching interception to knock off a second-ranked opponent as they beat Augustana on Saturday as they look ahead now to Winona State. Steve Laqua joins us each and every Tuesday at 10:35. Second time in 3 weeks. I had one of your football players on yesterday. Max Watson told us what you told him after he missed the extra point. Can you give us your side of the story after he missed the extra point, then when he made the game-winning kick?
Yeah, I think he was in a real tough position because we decided to go for two. Defensively, we felt like we're hanging on by a thread. Let's go for two. Let's try and get ourselves up one. And so we did that. We get it, but we have the offensive pass interference, so we move it back 15 yards. So if you sit in Max's shoes, you think you're going to kick the extra point to tie. Then you get told we're going to go for two. So you kind of maybe let your guard down, like, okay, and then all of a sudden now there's a penalty. Hey, by the way, now go back out there and kick this extra point for whatever, 33 yards. And so difficult situation for him, just missed. He'd been phenomenal throughout the game, just missed that. But honestly, I just went over to him, and I don't know why, but I just told him, hey, this is perfect. Now, instead of kicking to tie the game, you're going to get an opportunity to kick the game winner. You couldn't write this any better for yourself. This is going to be great. And so, lo and behold, we get a turnover and got an opportunity where he gets a chance to kick the game winner, and he knocks it in.
I mentioned, too, that you guys couldn't move the ball all game. You were moving the ball, and then that particular drive at a penalty, then moved it back. So what's going through your mind as he's lined up to attempt a 40-yarder?
This is crazy, and you're going to probably laugh at me and think I'm one of the dumbest people in the world, but I did not realize it was a 40-yard field goal. We were playing the clock. I was like, okay, we're going to end this thing. Let's get as much time off. Let's kick the field goal, leave them with nothing so we can win. It wasn't until after the game when someone said, yeah, 3 field goals over 40 yards. That last one was a 40-yard. It's like, whoa, I didn't realize it was that far. I just kind of looked, and he can make it from there. We're okay. This is not a problem. And so kind of reminded me of the Dakota Bowl kick that Dan Jordan made in the state championship. I didn't do the math on that one either. I just thought he could make it and send him out there. And so good thing he can. It's probably better I didn't do the math, and my logical brain might have stepped in.
We told Max yesterday watching the replay, Steve, that would have been good from 50, man. He got it. He hit that one hard.
He did. He's done a great job in camp, and we've had a really competitive kicking situation throughout fall camp. And there was a day where we had guys that went 3 for 3 from 49. We were 2 for 3. 3 different kickers now from 42, from 45. It's just, we had days that we're just like, wow, this is really competitive. We got a great specialist group. And so, he kind of rose to the top. He got the opportunity, and he certainly delivered in this one.
Give us the backstory on getting him. I was being a Fargo North kid. I know you had your eyes on him, but how did that all come about? Say, this is a guy that we need on our football team.
Well, it's a guy that we've seen, at different camps. He's local. You see him kick. He does a great job under pressure. Last year he made some big field goals, to win games, at games. Distances were big, and he was around. And anytime you've got a guy that's that close in your local proximity, you just want to be able to have them jump in and take the program to another level. And you know what? We're glad that he decided on the Dragons. It was a good thing for us. Kickers are important, and honestly, the closer they are, the better shot we have at getting them. So we just felt like we had a great shot. We just got to try and find a way to make it happen.
You have spoken a few times about Cody Sorensen and what he means to your football team. Describe his game on Saturday and what he did to help you win the game.
Well, I guess an interception to start the game on a play that they had kind of designed, and they got us isolated, and he honestly came back from the other side, wasn't supposed to be in the picture, but had enough field awareness to peel back and help his buddy out and end up with an interception. And then, last play of the game, he ends it with an interception as well. A guy that just, he felt the game out there. He was a guy that honestly out of high school didn't really kind of blossom till his senior year. He's played some nickel, some corners, some safety for us. He throws in 9 tackles. And to be honest, he's a phenomenal leader in our leadership group. He's got great perspective. He's a guy that, allows everybody to speak their piece and then knows how to be able to connect and bring everybody together. And so he provides a level of leadership that you can't put your finger on.
The NSIC announced its Players of the Week. Has this ever happened in your tenure? The Dragons swept all three?
That happened for the Dragons,
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. We've been part of plenty of games where we've helped other people become the Players of the Week. But we had some amazing performances. Obviously, Max was great. Cody's the Defense Player of the Week. Jack had just kind of another ho-hum day, 47 for 67 and 400 and whatever, 75 yards. It was just, great day by a lot of people. It wasn't just those three guys. There's a lot of guys that played good football.
You coached Demetrius Carr, who was the all-time passing leader in MSUM history. Strand just broke it a year ahead of where Demetrius did it. I mean, I know you're throwing the ball a lot, but just the level of quarterback play you've had over the last 2.5 years with him is just, you kind of shake your head now, right?
Yeah, he's done a phenomenal job, and there's some plays that he made in that game that probably you don't notice, but there's a missed block, there's a missed guy that doesn't get picked up in protection, and he just slides a little and flicks it off his wrist, and the ball comes out quickly, and it's complete, and kind of one of those no harm, no fouls. Nobody notices, and you're watching the film going, oh my gosh, we are dodging bullets left and right here. So it's not just like he's throwing it a bunch and fitting into. He's covering up for a lot of different mistakes that happen at times, and obviously we got some great receivers that are getting themselves open. Carson Elbert had a huge breakout game. He's progressing every single week, and so if we can continue to get production from him like that, we can be a really tough offense to defend.
We were joking off air. You've now had 2 rank wins. You can't beat the unranked teams, but now you got 2. So I guess now getting ready, you're going back on the road. What's the mindset? How do you describe this getting ready for Winona State now?
Well, I think the guys have been super focused. And again, last week was about flushing the loss.
Right.
And, hey, we can't have it both ways. We can't sit around and listen to everybody talk about the game when it's great afterwards. And we can't sit around and, not talk about it when we don't. We have to have it both ways. And I think they understand. We're going to Winona. A Dragon football team has not won in Winona since 1995. And so these guys weren't alive then. I was still in high school running around. And so a lot of life has happened since then. And so it's about time that we need to step in there, play good football. It's a very difficult place to play. The fans are on top of you. It's a great student section. There's no track. So it's an intimate environment with a lot of noise. And we just need to find a way to play well and just squeak out of there with the win.
Just is it a combination thing? I know it's a long road trip. What is it about it that you've seen you stumbled down there in the past?
Well, they've been really good.
Yeah.
Right. That's part of it. Late 90s through the 2000s, they had a streak where they were winning every single NSIC title, and they've been a competitive. I mean, 2 years ago, they're in the playoffs. They're a really good football team, and so it's a difficult place to play, but it's even more difficult when the team is better than our team. And so, hopefully at this point, we've got a chance where we can go toe to toe with them and find a way to overcome the odds that are down there, that they've got that tradition and that kind of belief that they can win in that environment.
Is this a maturity kind of win, Steve, to say, okay, we got to handle success, like you mentioned, like we handled defeat, to go and try and get this on the road?
Well, I think it's that, and it's a maturity of, hey, this is a road trip. We've got to handle our business. We got to make sure that we're there and we can handle the ups and downs, and everything's a little bit higher on the road, right? If things aren't going your way, it just compiles on you and snowballs. And so we can't let that happen. We've got to make sure we can dig out of those things. We can create our own energy, because there's not a ton of people that are going to be cheering for us there. And so we've got to generate that stuff on our own. And that is a maturity thing. And I think this group is mature and able to do that.
You look at the league, has anything surprised you in how things have played out so far?
Well, Minot off to a racing out to a 4-1 start has been, I think, a surprise with that. You look and go, there's been some games that, Sioux Falls was on a kind of a good run, and then, struggled against Minot. Minot gets the win. You've got Winona, and the Northern score last week was a little surprising. CSP's playing a lot better than people would have expected. I think Mankato was kind of steamrolling people, and that's a future Dragon problem in a couple of weeks, but that's, they're a top 5 team in the country, and they're doing a great job. And so I think there's some things, it's competitive. It's really competitive. I think, there's some really good games that are come down the stretch. It's going to be really interesting how they play out.
This point of the year now, you're halfway here. How is it for practice? Are you shorting things up, okay, for guys to rest injuries? Like, how are you addressing things now at this point of the season, practice-wise?
Well, we have had some guys beat up over the last few weeks, and so they've had to have adjusted practice schedules. There's, going into that McHenry week, we had some critical players that didn't practice all week, that weren't 100% in the game. They weren't 100% this week in the game. We had some guys that didn't practice all week and just found a way to get out there. And so there's some management of that. Our practices in general are pretty short. Over the years, I think we've scaled that back. Quality, freshness is important. The walkthrough reps kind of take the place of that. And so I think we've managed that where it's not a lot of tapering, because we've kind of tapering from that. We have done a really good job, I think, with Coach Herkenhoff, our strength coach, adding some sprint workout early in the week. And we feel last week we had guys running the fastest flying 10s that they've ever run in their careers. Wow. And so 4 games in, to have a good chunk of guys doing that, I think we're doing some things right. And so as teams naturally regress in speed throughout the year, that's a key to us. We're maybe not doing it at the same regression. And so hopefully that creates an advantage more and more as the weeks go by.
All right. Last question here. When's the last time you kicked a football, and how far could you kick it?
Well, I was holding it for my 4-year-old son, and he was kicking field goals. They didn't go over 1 foot in the air, but they were rolling really far, and he didn't hit my finger. So that was a positive on Sunday. I have not kicked a field goal in a long time.
Yeah.
If it gives you I was the kicker in high school. Okay. My senior year, square-toed kick, straight on, punch that thing through. The quality that I had basically allowed us our senior year that we went for 2 every time instead of kicking. So it kind of gives you an idea of how good a kicker I was.
Well, the weather gets tough this time of year, I'm sure. That probably played a factor, right?
No, I think just somehow putting it up and through the uprights was a bit of a problem for me. So now I've been punting. I'll tell you that. Yesterday I was out there punting, and guys were blocking the punt right off my leg like clockwork. So I'm cannon fodder on that one. I got bruises all over my shins from these guys.
I remember going to practice. You were still throwing. You were still doing that, right? Do you still do that before practice, or no? Have you retired that?
Yeah, I can get in good 15 to 18 yards distance if I really crank it up. The first one hurts like a son of a gun. There's just the rust is knocking off, but after that, the guys obviously know why they moved me from quarterback to defense when they see that come out. So it's
oh man, it's great to see you as always. Congrats on the great win. Good luck. Safe travels to Winona this week. Thanks for the time as always.
You bet. Thank you.
Steve Laqua joining us. Dragons back on the road. He mentioned it there. Not won at Winona State since 1995. See if they can put something together there after the emotional win over Augustana on Saturday. We'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll update you on everything realignment-wise. Been another busy morning there with 3 separate schools looking like they're moving to different locations. We'll wrap up Hot Mic right after this.